People are so obsessed with the whole Kavanaugh hearing and did he tell the truth and did she tell the truth? And then if they're not talking about that, they're talking about Stormy Daniels and her book or whatever. Look, one of the biggest stories of the past 10 or 15 years is breaking out in Korea. People are obsessed here about stuff that they can't really know about because it's all hearsay and it's in the past. Okay, you're either talking about a woman's affair with Donald Trump that she apparently can't shut up about, or of course, the Ford and Kavanaugh back and forth. Here's the North and South Korea summit that happened this week.
More on this story. I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Armin Georgian. Now, Armin, good morning to you. This is a very rare event, but who is benefiting from this summit?
Yeah, it's really extraordinary to see these pictures. I mean, it's not every day that the leader of a democratic country comes to the North Korea, and is welcomed in this way. It's, of course, a visit to a country that is anything but a normal state. And to me, these pictures, they say a couple of things in terms of the messaging. Firstly, that Kim Jong-un is gaining legitimacy on the world stage, and secondly, that Moon Jae-in is accepting that bid, which really began with Kim Jong-un's New Year's Day address at the beginning of this year, when he reached out to South Korea, and that led to the Winter Olympics, various other forms of cooperation. These two men actually shook hands at the border in April at the Truce Village, and very briefly they stepped into North Korea, and at the time the media was saying that was such a big step, a small step, but symbolically a huge step. Well, compare that to April to this. I mean, this is a whole new level of symbolism, of legitimacy that Kim Jong-un is gaining with this visit by President Moon of South Korea.
Well, the South Korean leader has been instrumental in brokering a diplomatic thaw between Pyongyang and Washington. How could the summit then impact the recent diplomatic efforts between?
All right, that's not really why I wanted all of this commentary on that is kind of using the old nomenclature of how we relate to Korea. Now, I'm not going to say we should forget about everything bad North Korea has done and continues to do and the way they treat their people, but you have to realize that people are saying that Kim Jong-un, and that's the title, Kim Jong-un is gaining legitimacy on the world stage. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but the only way to delegitimize Kim Jong-un to the extent that the media would like to would have been to go to war. And these people in their prim outfits over in this case in a studio in Paris, they would not be willing to actually lay down anything that they own or any of their own loved ones in order to accomplish the liberation of North Korea according to their standards. It just wasn't going to happen. And what we are seeing today is the best situation you can hope for, I guess. Unless you're one of these people who say, well, we should have gone to war. We should have just charged in there and guns blazing. And it doesn't matter how many South Koreans die. It doesn't matter how many North Korean civilians die. But we got to do it. We got to just clear them out. Even Styx Hexenhammer, who I think is one of the best political minds in the world, and I'm not really exaggerating that much when I say that. He even said when Trump came into office that it might be necessary to intervene in North Korea, and I kind of withheld my opinion because even though I'd read somewhat about North Korea in the past, there's a reason it's called the Hermit Kingdom, and a lot of people don't know much about what goes on there. So I was like, well, I don't even know what to say. I'm not even going to comment. It might be, I might have to eat my words. And lo and behold, you are seeing breakthroughs. You're seeing bilateral ties strengthening between North and South Korea. And in my opinion, Trump does have to really ignore what the media is saying and pursue the best course of action towards the peninsula and try to get them to part with their nuclear weapons as fast as possible. Probably dangle some sort of incentive in front of him. There would be, proposal for some sort of manufacturing cooperation between the U.S., South Korea, North Korea, somewhere. I don't think that would be as hard as peace in some other parts of the world. People talk about the Middle East. Of course, that's a difficult peace area. Well, what about Colombia? Colombia has been at civil war for decades, and they signed like a peace treaty that apparently, from what I've heard, isn't going so well. You have a lot of countries, the Philippines, that have never really been fully at peace. So what are you going to do about it? This is one of the few places where you do have kind of a conflict between two sovereign states. And they do have a chance to really conclude this conflict and move Korea kind of into a new chapter where, South Korea is already a major economic power. What would it look like if the two Koreas were kind of reunited? Unfortunately, you have the bad example of reunited Germany. Not everything's bad about it, but the East continues to be left behind in terms of economic development and infrastructure and education. So it's not going to be an easy process if they can keep it going, but they don't have an option to fail, in my opinion. There's no option to go back to the way it was since the 40s and 50s. Because, look, the ideological war between North and South Korea has not benefited either country. Yes, South Korea has become a major power, but that's, I believe, in spite of the fact that it's a conflict with the northern half of the country. Okay, North Korea definitely hasn't benefited from the ideological divide between the two Koreas, because it's ended up being kind of almost a puppet state of China, not quite, and just underdeveloped and of course all sorts of human rights abuses and a system of gulags all over North Korea, and apparently there's North Koreans that are living in prison camps throughout Russia, from a report that I remember seeing 2 years ago. But I guess I think we should focus on the positive things that are happening. We don't know if all of that stuff will come to an end very soon. I think personally that Trump, he's been going to North Carolina, which of course he has to do. He went to an election rally in Nevada today. I guess yes, there's an election going on. I think what would be a more important thing. I don't know if he can go to Asia, but he should definitely send Pompeo there and have him there almost, guiding the events over there, and possibly what I think, in the absence of Trump being able to go there at the moment, there should be a summit between the foreign ministers of South Korea, North Korea, and the USA, our Secretary of State. And they would sign a few of these agreements and then bring the formal end of the Korean War forward. Apparently, that's a sticking point, that the U.S. wants North Korea to denuclearize before ending the Korean War. I feel, why not do them at the same time? Why not do both things at the same time? Then that would kill two birds with one stone. That's about it. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.